And we are live, Wrestle Purist live. Appreciate you guys joining us, me and Hulbert in the booth today. And we're just going to talk a little bit of pro wrestling, man. You guys can help us out a lot in the live chat today with any topics or anything like that. Because like I said, man, it's a chilled one. It's a chilled one. The weather's nice over here in the UK. But yeah, what's going on, Joe? What's going on, Joe? You joining me today? Like I said, the weather's nice outside.
It is.
You're the star of the moment, you know. You're the big man now, you know. You're gonna
Lots
be
going
too
on.
big for the channel soon.
I don't know about that, but a lot's going on. As you say, it's a beautiful day. Hope everyone is
It
well.
is. It is.
Happy Friday. I'm so, to be honest, I'm very busy, but I'm like, it's a good kind of busy, and I'm excited about a lot of stuff I'm doing, And so yeah, it's a cool time. I mean, there's definitely some stress that comes with that, definitely. Um, but especially, the Toko tape is really cool on one thing, but doing the charity stream this weekend, while I will not be there the entire thing like I was the last time we did a 24-hour charity stream, because I think that nearly killed me, I was still there for a lot of it, and I think with a lot of the stuff we do, it's BS, right? I mean, we're talking about wrestling, but the charity streams are like an actual real thing, so that I'm looking forward to. So I'm busy, but I'm excited, Monty. How are you?
I'm not too bad, man. I'm not too bad. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with the Heat here in the UK.
Yeah.
You know, the Premier League is back tonight, this weekend. I
Wow.
was just telling Joe about my stresses trying to put together a
True.
fantasy Premier League team, and I thought it would be a good idea to kind of like I left it. I left it to you last minute, and I haven't got a team. You know, this is this happens. You know, so we'll see how that plays out. I think the deadline to submit your team is in like 8 minutes, and I ain't got it, man. I ain't got it. I ain't got it. But yeah, the Premier League's back this weekend. Fired up about that. And yeah, man, build a Forbidden Door. I guess is kind of like the big thing going on at the moment. You know, the build has had a few people complaining, a few people
Mm.
defending. You know, but yeah, I'm
I love that
I'm
every
just
wrestling topic we could describe as few people complaining, few people defending. Like that's everything in it now.
that's Twitter, bro. We spend too much time on Twitter, man. I'm
Yeah.
sick of it myself. I think so. My tweets are getting less. I go through phases of tweets, you know, but it is what it is, Joe. You
It
know,
is.
it is. But yeah, Forbidden Door is kind of like I said, it's the big thing, I guess, at the moment. You know, we've came out of SummerSlam and that unfortunate ending. Depending on who you are, there's there's defenders of that, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, Forbidden Door is kind of a AEW's recent cycle's been they're steady these days. You know,
Very,
they've
very
got a
steady.
good core group to build around, like their main top stars, your Hangmans, your Swerves, your Tony Storms, the people like that. Will Osprey, obviously, unfortunate with the injury that he's either, you know, recovering from by working in a cage match next weekend. But you know, this is yeah, man, this is like I said, it's good steady TV over there. You know, and
I think so.
I'm enjoying it. You know, people seem to be enjoying it. Meltzer's enjoying it. I think he gave two
Good.
4.5 star matches on Collision last week. So
I always like when Dave's happy. Yeah.
it's an important part of the business, Joe.
It
You know,
certainly is. It most certainly
it's
is. I'm gonna like honestly, I could be because we talk about this on Worldwide a little bit, and like I don't want to be dismissive of the New Japan part of the equation because I get why fans feel the way they feel.
of
But
course.
just to be completely direct and honest about how I feel as someone that's going to Forbidden Door, I absolutely prefer this approach than like crowbarring in. I gotta be honest, I don't know if Hangman and Suji or whatever can close Forbidden Door for me personally. I think the way they've gone is probably more appealing for me. O2 is a big room,
It
um,
is not a bad seat in
and
the house. You know,
the international star power of New Japan's current roster has been depleted considerably because obviously a lot of those people are now working elsewhere. Um, and I think that doesn't mean it's invalid to say you wanted more crossovers. I think there's something to be said for CMLL talent, all of that stuff, and it's all valid, and that's fine. My personal vantage point as someone going at the show, it's like I think the show looks pretty damn good, man. I gotta say, like Max and Hangman is a big match for them.
Yeah, of course.
Really big match. You've got the cage match, which is nothing if not surely a spectacle, right? I mean, my goodness, an insane group of talent. Nigel and Zach, presumably, which will have incredible heat in the building. There's a lot to like here. You know, Swerve and Okada is not a matchup that I personally was like desperate to see, but I mean, it's going to be a major match, certainly, right? So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, I think there's a lot to like, and that doesn't mean people are wrong to want more New Japan talent or more similar talent. I think you have to be a little bit realistic about where that squad's at right now, if I'm being honest.
It's an interesting one because, you know, it's the forbidden door, you know.
It is.
The novelty aspect of it is, of course, very important to the fans, you know. It's very important, and because there's a certain spirit of what created the forbidden door, you know.
Right.
So, of course, it's very valid for a lot of fans to kind of, you know, be kind of let down, even with all the things considered, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then he does obviously, of course, there's the obvious things that do not help it as well, like the G1 climax being basically at the same time that
Makes
you
it
do
hard.
the build. It
Yeah.
makes it already, it's a tough hill to climb anyway, because as Joe mentioned, they've lost a lot of star power, especially internationally, over the past few years. So you're battling against that and scheduling conflicts. It's just not, you know. But of course, there's workarounds, but it's, you know, how much are you really going to get out of those workarounds, you know? It's
Yeah.
like, what sort of business is Hangman versus a Yota Tsuji or a Shota Umino or even a Zack, you know? Like, what is that
Right.
really gonna do, you know?
Well,
So of course, like,
it's a pay-per-view.
yeah.
That's the key thing. It's a pay-per-view, and
Exactly.
that's a big factor.
Exactly.
Especially it's an afternoon pay-per-view in the States, right? Lest we forget. So you need it to be even more like loaded. So I don't know.
It's a real nice pay-per-view card, you know? It's just kind of, it's obviously looking
Is it
through and
Forbidden Door?
understanding,
Yeah.
looking through the lens of it being what the fans want to see out of a Forbidden Door, you know? Because yeah, I'm looking at the card now on the ever reliable Wikipedia, but it's a really good card, you know. It's
It
just
is.
obviously you wouldn't be like, oh my god, that's Forbidden Door, like, as if
Mhm.
this is a match I never thought we'd see, you know. Like, there's not
Right.
really a lot of that on it.
It's basically
Um,
Nigel and Zach in that regard, right? Basically, and I guess the cage match because you have crossover with Tanahashi. I
Yeah, of
guess.
course, of
Yeah.
course. That's like, it feels like the cage matches where they've been kind of, you know, Osprey even touched on it in a recent promo, you know, like about how, I can't remember what the wording was, but it was basically along the lines of like, you know, it doesn't feel forbidden enough, this build, you know, this forbidden door, so let's get crazy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where we got, like, you know, kind of the cage match to Tanahashi, the X, Y, Z and all that sort of stuff there. So the cage match is kind of like their big swing at trying to capture that, you know, that
It's gonna be an
spirit of
interesting
Forbidden Door.
match, dude. Like,
Yeah, of course.
there's one cage. It's not a double ring thing. Unless I'm mistaken, this is going to be just 10 blokes in a cage for 20, 30 minutes. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm very, very intrigued to see how that looks as a match. I'd imagine it'll be a pretty
it'll be a
messy
mess.
affair. But yeah, I mean, but I think the question is it the kind of mess of those great Anarchy in the Arena matches, or is it the kind of mess where you go, what's happening here? I assume it will be the former, because I think these fellas are, this is very
there's
much
some
their
real talent,
wheelhouse,
yeah.
some of them. Yeah,
a lot of all-timers in this.
presumably, I think Darby Allin's probably going to be ridiculous in this match, if we're being honest, right?
I think I wouldn't completely write off the chance of them doing a double cage either, to be honest. Like, I know that's like what they do for what Blood and Guts
Maybe.
do, double cage, but it's just, bro, there's rather like, what, 10 man? Is it a
It's
10
10
man?
blokes, yeah.
That's it.
It's going to be difficult, isn't it?
10 big fellas, bro.
You're going to
You
need
know?
to do a thing where, like, someone gets out of the cage and there's, like, a crowd brawl element, I think. You got to send out, like, Gabe Kidd.
Yeah, there's
or
got to be
someone,
some. There's got to be. Yeah, you can't just have 10.
No, I don't think so. Too much time to just be lying around in there. But I mean, this is stuff that, because I'm a fucking nerd, this is the stuff that interests me. Like, I'm intrigued how they approach the match. That's probably the thing No, the match I'm most anticipating is Athena and Tony.
Yeah.
Second and third would probably be Nigel and Zach, and then the cage match probably. But there's a lot of good stuff. I mean, I'd imagine the show's going to be incredible. And the O2 Arena is like a superb venue, dude. Like seriously, a great. I mean, Monty and I, of course, had a our magnum opus there. We drew 20,000 strong. No, it's a great venue, and I think the atmosphere, especially if it's mic'd even just like moderately well, I think the atmosphere will be unbelievable for everyone watching at home too. So
I still haven't decided if I'm going.
wow,
I'm trying to figure it out.
they need you on commentary.
How
Bro.
I'll do it.
They need you on commentary.
I might have to drive up though.
Hard work, innit? Hard work. This will be an hour train for me, and I can go home. I understand your confusion, your concern.
Man, it's London's just that's what it is. It's like London's just rough, you know.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Just traveling around London, it's just long, bro.
But Hiroshi Tanahashi,
the underground and everything. The underground's great, but like it's just rough, bro.
Have you ever seen Tanahashi though, Monty?
I don't think I have, I don't think I've ever seen
Feels like
Tanahashi
your
wrestle.
answer, bro. Feels like your answer.
I got a lot of love for Tana, man. I do have a lot of love for Tana, Give his all out there.
Yeah. I first saw him live, Monty, 10 years ago, next month or 2 months away. There was a double shot, okay? The matches were Liger and Tanahashi versus Gedo and Okada. That was the first time I ever saw those blokes live. And the sequel, I could be wrong on this, I'm pretty confident though. I believe that in the sequel, Tanahashi wrestled Big Damo of Sanity, Killian Dame fame. So there you go. 2 classics out the gate.
It's always funny, isn't it, like with the UK? Like, especially like pre-AEW, kind of like your opportunities to see like these wrestlers like outside of WWE.
Yeah.
He would be in these mad scenarios like you just pointed out, like Tana versus Big Damo. Like it's like that's how they get them over here. Whereas like now AEW will do like a Forbidden Door. They've been at Wembley the past couple of years. WWE will do a big show most years. It's
for sure. Yeah, this has been
there's
a crazy
lot more
decade,
partnerships and stuff.
For British fans, this is a crazy decade because there was years without any kind of pay-per-view, and now it's like you've had a bunch of stuff, and obviously all in Wembley 2 years in a row, stadium crowds, and it's been an interesting. I mean, Clash at the Castle, Money in the Bank. We were at it's actually probably taken for granted a little bit how nuts this decade's been.
Yeah, 100%. Because I guess it's coincided with like Brit Rest dying.
Yeah, weirdly enough, yeah.
Brit Rest had to die for us to get a few pay-per-views and a stadium show. And
some must die so others can live. It is what it is. I saw Punk and Joe. I'm fine. It'll be okay. Sorry, Progress.
Bro. I got what I needed. I got out of it with something. Saw Punk and Joe, Bloodline Civil War.
You and I are just willingly sacrificing the entire industry and scene for our personal joy.
God. Listen, man, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes,
True.
What was we talking about? We was talking about Forbidden Door cage matches.
Yep.
Forbidden Door card. Like, to your point, when you look at it as a pay-per-view, it's a good pay-per-view card, It's there's a good variety on there. There's big matches. But again, it's just kind of like the lens of like, is it a Forbidden Door? Does it look like a Forbidden Door? If you didn't know it was a Forbidden Door and you looked at the card, it doesn't really like
No, I get
doesn't really grab you like that.
Yeah.
The cage match though, as we said, it'll be a fun time, man. Tanahashi threw his name in the hat. Respect. He's gonna as we were saying before we went live, he's just gonna he's gonna probably blade a bit, roll around, sell. Come off the top rope once or twice,
Trash can lids, kendo sticks,
sling blade.
Yeah,
he's gonna play the hits, sell. I don't think he's gonna do anything crazy. You see quite a lot of people when these old men, get announced for matches like this. But at the same time, bro, Tanahashi,
he's mad. He might.
Yeah, like he's one of the greatest of all time for a reason. So he might just be like, "Fuck it."
I could
My
see
last dance in London.
I don't think if he's gonna do the thing off the top of the cage, which everyone's speculating, high fly off the top of the cage, it would have to be one of those brother like, basically a crossbody. You know when he does it on the guy standing up, and you give all 5 guys catch. I mean, if he's gonna do that, that would be fine to be honest, because that'd probably be safer than him trying to climb the top rope at this point, because that is a fucking terrifying sight whenever he's in AEW. The way that the angle is. Remember that collision match where he was up there forever trying to get up there? Bless him. He's in, dude. I've actually, like, the more I think about it, I've been lucky to see him, like, quite a few times. And he's, no question, one of my, all-time guys. I think he's one of the most significant wrestlers in modern history, easily, but in history. It's amazing what he can still do. I saw him a couple years back at the Copper Box, and I was with my family for that show. And there was one point in the match, and I don't say this to poke fun at him, I say this to, eventually I'll circle back. At one point, he was tasked with running across the ring.
Okay.
And you know what that looked like. Yeah, and it's 2023. And I'll be completely real, and it may have came through on tape, I don't know. The audience actually laughed at what it looked like when he ran. And I remember thinking, it's probably time to go. And eventually he reached the same conclusion. But then, I was watching some of his G1 stuff the other way, and I've heard great things, and I still have some matches on my plate. I saw the Suji match, and I saw, like, the part of the Finlay match. Considering that, my point of this is, it is absolutely insane that he can still, like, pretty safely have a nice 3.5 star, 3 3/4 star match. He legitimately cannot run. Like, that's how great he is. He's just, yeah, so I mean, any chance to see him is a treat. One of the all-time greats, obviously. Not breaking any news there.
I think, with guys like him, because they're kind of just understanding of the game is so deep, It's bro, remember we're similar age, so you might clock this, but like, remember back in the day when like Zidane would play in those charity games?
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, he's still, even obviously he's got no burst of pace or
when the ball's at his feet.
Explode. But when the ball's at his feet, like, he still sees the game at that level, because you don't lose that. Like, he always has that mind, But yeah, like, the true all timers, it's like, it don't matter if the body's like, as long as they can move a little bit, and do
also,
like gestures with their arms, like,
when you're at his level. Psychologically, like, he's smart enough that he works it into his matches too. Like, when he wrestled Takeshita in the States, he worked it into the match. Like, clearly I'm outgunned here, but I'm going to try and find a way. That was the point of that match. The issue is when older wrestlers try to wrestle like they're 25. Tanahashi wrestles in a way where he's basically going, look at the state of me, guys. I can't run, but I'm trying my best. And the people come up because they're sympathetic towards him, right? So it's going to be interesting how he does in this. This is obviously a different thing to what we're describing, but I'd imagine he'll be very selective, and the crowd will love him. And any time a guy like that gets a chance to work in front of a crowd like this, obviously he's working in front of bigger crowds. What I mean is one that will be as, honestly, I'd imagine he'll just get a ton of, like, reverence and adoration from this crowd, don't you think?
Yeah, that's
like,
what it'll be, man. Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be, like, so hot whenever he does anything, you know? And he'll feed off that because of what we was just talking about. Like, he just knows how to, Yeah. And the way he can get people to buy into the way that he fires up, even like the way that he'll stagger it through a match as well, like they're playing on the things that you just said, like, look at the state of me, but fuck it, like, and that's kind of like the energy that he'll bring, yeah, we love Tanner, and Darby Allin, you gotta wonder as well about in this match, what the fuck is he gonna go up to? This guy is just you never know what sort of dumb shit he might try,
Especially if this is the main event, let's be honest, they're going to do some stupid shit, let's be honest. Stupid, in a complimentary way, Yeah,
it'll be beautiful, He does his thing. Kenny Omega's back. That's
yes, true. That's in here too.
Fuck.
Him and Ibushi back together. There's so much stuff.
Hopefully
in this
Ibushi
match,
keeps
right?
up his form from that Okada match, man. He was
yeah.
both these guys been finished by Okada. That was the last time both of them wrestled, I believe.
Remind me of the heel team. Sorry, I'm bad at this.
The heel team is the Death Riders and the Young Bucks.
Yeah, and Gabe Kidd's in there, right?
Oh, yeah, Gabe Kidd.
Yeah.
The Mercenary, or whatever the fuck it is that they call him.
Gabe Kidd feels like a prime candidate to do some really stupid shit in this match, doesn't he?
He's coming back off an injury as well, bro.
I know.
This is what's mad about it. I think like Dave wrote about it in the newsletter earlier. Like, you got Kenny and obviously Ibushi. We know what he's been going through the past few years, and you can imagine that they're a lot more selective with him, and he's with picking his matches and stuff, and how often he wrestles. You know, Kenny Omega. Obviously, we know the situation with him. You know. Obviously, Darby Allin is a bit different. Like, yeah, he's coming off big, you know, he's coming off big time away, but it's not like he was hurt or anything. He was doing something else. Tanahashi is about 73 years of age, you know. And yeah, man, it's like then you got Gabe Kidd as well, as we just mentioned, who's just will be coming off an injury. It's like, yeah, you've got some vulnerable fellas in this. You got Osprey as well, who's like, I don't know, his neck's hanging on by a thread. I still can't get over that promo, you know, bro. Like, he went out there and was like, yeah, man, my vertebrae are all fucked, and I think I'm going to be back in 3 weeks or whatever the fuck it was.
Do you think that was like, I mean, it's none of my business, but I couldn't figure out where the truth started and ended on that promo. It was such a specific like thing that he said, but then his timeline didn't match. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but it didn't match what I would presume that would take to heal. You know?
Not at all, bro.
No, but like I said, but then why would he make it up? You know what I mean? Like, he could have just said like, my neck's I'm going to be back in a month, but he like specifically told us what was wrong with him, which is either an incredibly beast liar or. I have no idea. I have no clue. It was. I mean, it's funny in that way. Hopefully, he's okay.
He's just Will Ospreay is just one of those guys, though, man. That he leaves it all out there, brother. You know, he's here for a good time, not a long time. You know what everyone used to say about Darby. Oh, he's gonna like that's kind of like Ospreay's approach, really, isn't it?
Oh, it's been that way for years. Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
This is probably 3 or 4 years ago now. He did a video from his car where I just got out from the doctor and they told me, you know, that this, that, and the third. And he was like, I'm just going to keep wrestling my style until I can't do it anymore. That's the way he's said that, like, you know, regularly, I feel like. I actually think people forget how beat up. Do you remember some of the stories when he was at the height of his New Japan run about how fucked up he was physically? Like, people forget that stuff.
Yeah, and like you said, that kind of that video that you did, that you just mentioned. Yeah, that's just Osprey, man. Yeah. And luckily for him, he's going the way that I guess he's sacrificing for it to go. You know, like he has got the reputation of being one of the best in the world, one of the hardest working, one of the most, you know, you put him on pay-per-view, guaranteed. You know, it's
And he's getting
he's got the reputation. Yeah, he's got the rep. Yeah, he's getting big money for it as well now, and he has got that reputation that he has he is currently sacrificing his body for. You know, so obviously with these sort of things, you got to hope that, like, you know, when it's all said and done, he'll sit down and he'll be very happy with that, and not be wishing that he got an extra few years in the ring or whatever. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next generation of wrestlers, and people can feel everything about Will's work, but I think it'd be a pretty bold prediction to suggest otherwise. Then the next generation of wrestlers is probably going to be like in awe of his work. I feel like, you know, I'm sure it will result in some terrible copycat wrestlers, but I think, you know, the next generation of wrestlers are going to be like, you know, he's going to be revered, which I think is fair. I mean, his body of work is immense.
Yeah, I think it's funny, isn't it, that like he's so he idolizes AJ so much.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you look towards the next generation and who you think will kind of like stand out as like AJ growing up for me was always kind of like he was like flashy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he would do all the cool shit and he would work at a level and a pace that was just like, what the fuck, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like, for me anyway, like what his standout reputation was in that era, you know? then obviously as he kind of matured a bit more and reached his peak and kind of like, because I think his peak was probably like his New Japan work, to be honest.
I would agree. Yeah.
Even though he had been phenomenal at that point for like 10 years, do you know what I mean? Like, well, I'd say his absolute peak where it all, you know, when it just all comes together for somebody that good, you know, that was like his New Japan run for me. But anyway, my point I was getting to was, I do think he's kind of like the AJ for the next generation, you know, like, because that's kind of what like his output's just what the fuck, as we was just talking about, and then you know he does his level of execution with all like he's just unbelievable, you know, and it's like even if it's not like he's not my favorite wrestler in the world or anything like that. At the same time, I'm not one of those people who completely dismiss his work because it's not my. You know, it's not my favourite, you know? Yeah. But, bro, if you're into that high-paced, high-energy, flips, hot crowds, like, because he always gets the crowd, bro, you know, and that's the most important thing.
He's prolific in that sense.
Yeah, he's prolific. But he gets the crowd to buy that they are watching one of the matches of the year every single time he goes out there, you know?
I also think he is underrated. Like, I think there's more range to his game than his detractors would ever give credit. Like, I think they see him as the flippy guy, and I think he can do a lot more than that.
Oh, 100%.
Like, the match he had with Shota Umino at the end of 2013, I want to say Power Struggle 2013, is the match of Shota's life, in my estimation, easily. And in that match, he's like a bully, kind of roughhouse main event heel. He can equally be a babyface that fights from underneath, as we've seen, you know, a million other scenarios. And that's obviously been the role he's often employed in AEW. You look at the Hangman match from Double or Nothing. I mean, that was a classical main event. Like, you watch that match, the way that's paced, that is actually like you know, people always say it's the evolution of the style. I say that about every wrestling match that's got a new high spot. That was actually like an evolution of the main event style, because they still started with the traditional wrestling things and took their time. So, he can do, you know, almost anything. I am intrigued. When you look at him and AJ side by side, like, his match catalogue in the sort of the modern fans' eyes, I think is already probably right there with him, to be honest. I don't know, because I'd have to really think about it. But
yeah, I'd say in the modern fans' eye, like, I think for like me and you breaking it down,
right?
Going,
but
do you
just
know
the
what I mean?
general
Like,
fan.
we'd probably lean one way over the other. But I think, yeah, you know, from the general fans that have watched Osprey's career, even if it's just kind of like his last few years in New Japan and AEW run, and obviously familiar a lot with you know, AJ's peak work, like the past, you know, like 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think
he's there.
Yeah.
I'm just intrigued. And he doesn't have to do this, but in the AJ comparison, I am intrigued if he can find that. If he does naturally evolve his work the way that AJ did. Like, you mentioned it. Like, to me, AJ has two primes. Because in 2005, AJ is the most spectacular offensive wrestler of the generation. And then, as you mentioned, in New Japan 2014, 2015, he's like Ric Flair of that generation by that point, right? And there's still overlap. There's obviously some of the offense is the same, but the way he paced his matches in that time were incredible. So I'm intrigued to see if Osprey kind of goes for a similar evolution. We shall see. We shall see. Montel, can you hear me?
How's my audio, Joe?
I can hear you, but I don't know if I'm breaking up or you're breaking up. I can't tell. Speak again, Montel WP.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you're doing the gimmick again.
Tell us what's happening on your end.
It's breaking up again, I think. We had this last time, folks. Bear with us here. Montel's going to fix his audio.
Joe's going solo for a sec.
I'm going to go solo for a second. Folks, bear with us here. I was very scared. I think it's Montel WP. Please confirm that so I'm not fucking up as a solo. Yeah, Montel's right. Hope you're having a great Friday. Been a hell of a time so far talking Will Ospreay, AJ Styles. Intrigued, as I was saying, to see if Will Ospreay can find that kind of second prime. We shall see. Certainly gifted and talented enough to do so. We're about to talk here shortly about the Tokyo tape, which premieres on August 21st on LNG Productions. Check out the trailer right now. It's got the world talking, folks. It's got the world talking. It's a major league Instagram engagement. My first Instagram post is doing great. Collaborators. Toa Leona liked the post. Big business. Driller Maloney, one of my favourites. He liked the post. You should like them. You should smash the like button. That's what you should do. You should smash it.
Yo.
I was doing plugs like a pro.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. I was talking about my Instagram page.
When there's a true pro out there, you can leave it in his hands, Yeah, speaking of plugs, like the video, subscribe, get the super chats in.
Yes.
Didn't do those plugs, Everyone's here now, though. We've got, 180 people in. How many likes have we got? I'm not checking. Not with my internet doing what it was just doing just now. Anyway, though, AJ, Osprey, pretty decent wrestlers, to be honest, if you ask me. So yeah, Osprey in this match, of course. Like I said, kind of worried about the injury aspect of it with him, But we'll see how it plays out. He's obviously cleared, so what that means is different to every doctor. But it's cleared by somebody to be in this match. So yeah, man, shout out Will Osprey. Claudio Castagnoli. I need Claudio Castagnoli to He's been chilling, hasn't he? Good for him. You know.
It's been a long road, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not saying he don't deserve it, but for me as a fan, I'd like, he's kind of, he's in his mid-40s now, isn't he? So
yeah, I'm sure he'll be good in this. I'm sure he'll be good, because he can pick his spots in this, right? He's still very fucking good. It's just Claudio is definitely in a different mode than he was in 10 years ago, and understandably so, for the reasons we just mapped out. But yeah, I mean, Claudio is one of those guys too, where it comes really easy to him, so his baseline is still good. So he doesn't really have to, but I think he'll be good in this.
He said his baseline is very good, but I guess that's kind of the thing of him, because his baseline is so good, and he's got such a very decent floor,
Yes.
That it feels like it's been a while of that, like when was the last Claudio performance that made you think, fuck, because Claudio's got those in him, and I still think he does. I don't look at him and think, oh, look how broken down and slow and that he is. No. It's not that. It's just that he goes out there, he does his thing, and him doing his thing is still pretty decent, It's just that but at the same time, it's not like he's been put in fucking world title matches, is it?
No, he's kind of wrestled for the first time in his career. I think you could argue he's actually wrestled to his role in that sense, where he's kind of gone, I'm a role player, I'm going to just wrestle like one. Whereas he made a career of doing the opposite, where he was slotted as a role player and would be like fucking putting up MVP numbers, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think, Mikey Rins, I think he was good in Anarchy, and I think he'll be good in this, because it's like you can highlight his, because he can do some incredible, with Darby especially, he can fling Darby and Osprey all over the place, can't he? So, yeah.
Well, he's been beating the absolute shit out of Darby for
a year.
About a year.
A year.
Kicking the shit out of him, bro. Darby still needs to get that win back on him. That's mad.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, Claudio beat him, bro. Remember, we was all like, wait. What?
That's right. Was that in the Continental Classic they did that?
It might have been. It was recent. Obviously, it was not long before Darby left, then it was like his
like end of the year, probably, right?
Might have been Darby's second to last match before he left.
Do you remember the Darby Osprey Continental Classic match? That was fucking nuts, wasn't it? Mad match.
Delivered as expected, to be fair, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was his second last match.
It was at Hammerstein, right?
Yeah. Yes, Hammerstein, Continental Classic, Gold League. Yeah, Darby, he lost to Claudio in 11 minutes. And Darby's actual last match was the draw with Ricochet.
So how did they write Darby off? Like, what did he do? Like,
they threw him down the stairs.
Oh.
Remember?
I can't remember this. No, I can't. This is when I was... Remember,
no,
I was
backstage. Chat, please correct me if I'm wrong, or to confirm if I'm right. But I'm sure the lot threw him down the stairs, bro. Okay. Come on, chat.
React. New Year was rough for me, guys.
Come on, we got people in. Lock in, chat. Yeah, threw him down the stairs and he was out for 6 months.
Well done, Montel. Good knowledge there, brother. Good knowledge.
See, just when I think I'm washed, I was telling Joe before we went live, like, yo, I'm washed. Like, not washed in old, broken down. It's just that like I haven't been able to build up any momentum, people. You know, streaming once a week, sometimes not even once a week. I'm all over the place trying to figure out a new schedule. I'm working on it, people. When I told you a few weeks ago I'm working on it, I wasn't capping. You know what I'm saying? I was not lying. I'm actually working on it. I think by the time September comes around, you'll see a lot of things. You know. But anyway, what was I saying? Darby was out for 6 months after getting thrown down the stairs. Claudio's been kicking the shit out of him. Who else in this match do I want to talk? Bro, can we talk about John Moxley a bit?
I like John Moxley.
I know you kind of pick your spots these days with what you watch, but I like John Moxley a lot, man. You know, I feel like a lot of people kind of got a bit carried away this year, and I guess the
probably
the eagle-eyed viewer of Wrestle Purist knew. Like I definitely wasn't excusing him of any criticism, but I never quite jumped on the you know, worst member of the Shield, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Like fucking coming from like you know, he's kind of reminding me like like the Zack Sabre Jr. discourse, like
after
like
the dome.
a few months ago. And it was like people were just on it. It was like, bro, it's almost like they forgot who they were talking about. It's like, yeah, even if you think his work right now was pitiful, do you know what I mean? It's like it's still fucking Zack Sabre Jr. Like he's an all-time in-ring worker of his generation. Do you know what I mean? Moxley again, he's an all-time, and it's like, you know, I feel like these people have enough credit in the bank to, even if they completely shit the bed for 6 months, which I don't think they actually did, but like even if they did completely shit the bed for 6 months, they have enough credit in the bank for people to not like question their all-time standing and shit like that. Like, and it was getting like to those weird conversations with those two, I think, at points this year. Zack Sabre Jr. is like the perception of him's completely changed throughout this G1 again. He's swung back in his favour again. Apparently he's had a great G1, so I haven't been able to catch pretty much any of it, to be honest, but it's just, you know, just watching the conversation around the G1, it's like Zack's been phenomenal apparently. So you know, these people, they always, the cream, as Randy Savage always says, you know, cream always rises to the top, bro, you know. And people like that will, like, when I see John Moxley, I love John Moxley, bro. Like his energy when he just like when he talks, the way that he just like when he's about to walk out, like everything. There's just a mad energy that's very unique to John Moxley, you know. But I think he's I got a lot of time for the guy, you know. I thought it was obviously, I think the Death Rider stuff again definitely was not. You know, wasn't innocent.
There was some bad stuff in there.
There was some bad, but there was some good stuff, man. Like, I think the stuff with Hangman was all good.
Yeah.
All the stuff, and that's, you know, when it mattered, when it came to crunch time. It came to crunch time, you know, obviously we had to kind of go through some maybe unnecessarily bad shit in the, you know. I remember when it broke AO. The way that they did the Swerve match, you know, it wasn't even just necessarily that Swerve lost, which I think he would have crashed out over anyway, but the way they did it was just.
Well, that's the thing. Here's the thing.
The Young Bucks aspect of it was criminal, you know. So
all of these guys have strengths and weaknesses and pros and cons. John Moxley, like any other pro wrestler, whether they're a top guy or not, is not flawless, and so there are some times he's just gonna get it wrong. The Swerve match, he got it wrong, dude. That match was not very good. Like, forgetting the booking part, because I don't care about the booking part. That match was not very good. You know, to be honest, the Fatal 4, like, all four guys kind of just went, who could possibly care? Which is kind of baffling its own way. The Copeland match. Now, here's the thing about the Copeland match. That was not a good match, but the one thing I will always defend them on, even though I'm pretty sure they're the reason they went on last. Dude, they had no business closing a show that was like they had no chance of following that show. Copeland couldn't. He could have been wrestling. He could have been wrestling 1989 Ric Flair or Terry Funk in his prime. They were never closing that show in a satisfying fashion. But the match wasn't good anyway. So the point of all this is John Moxley is who he's always been. He is a top guy who cuts great promos. And
Great
when he is at his
promos,
best, is an incredible main event wrestler. Sometimes he can paint a somewhat muddied picture and combine styles in a way that doesn't fit. It's just, but unfortunately, it's hard sometimes when you're reviewing everything. It's hard to like stay level-headed. Sometimes you watch the Swerve match and you go, "Fuck, this was bad." You forget how good he can be. So, he's the same guy, and that guy is incredibly valuable, incredibly prolific, and in a lot of ways, I mean, he's kind of like the all-time AEW MVP in a lot of ways, right? I mean, you look at his role in AEW.
100%,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I don't even think that's questionable.
Yeah.
Over the 6 years, it's
he's
how
been active for most of it too.
Who's the argument? Like,
I don't know, because he's been around like the whole time. He hasn't missed time. Yeah.
It's like, who even could have it? Like, it couldn't have been anybody else. Do you know what I mean? Because of like, maybe if they went, gas pedal to the floor from the jump with Kenny, which they just didn't do, and unfortunately, injuries, health issues have prevented us from kind of getting the full, Kenny Omega top guy experience in AEW, like we got him as a heel, as a top guy in AEW, as the top guy in AEW, but like, we never got that fully fit top of the company babyface Kenny Omega run,
Mox or it's Hangman. Because the argument for Hangman would be...
Hangman's had too many gaps in importance.
I get that.
The
argument for Hangman would be... he's the guy who AEW, like, he has become a top star in AEW. That would be the argument. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
of
Moxley
course,
ended with obviously that would be the argument, would be, if you map out, like, the promotion's history, like, he's the main story of a lot of that first couple of years, obviously. And then there's definitely a dip, but he still has good work along the way, and now he's back to being... I would probably go
Hangman's
Mox,
like the sentiment... Yeah. It's sentimental, the Hangman thing, but I think, like...
Just results.
Mox is just like, at the end of the day, the cold hard facts, like, it's fucking John Moxley, Yeah. And it probably will develop into Hangman over the next 6 years. You know what I'm saying? But like, this first 5-6 years of AEW, I think unquestionably Mox. And also let's be honest, like, Mox is he's still drawing houses, bro. He's still doing his thing.
That's what I hear. I'm so out of the loop on that, but I saw like there was some sort of...
pay-per-view boys is like, his whole reign, like, pay-per-view boys held well. Like, he's that's always been under. Whereas I think Hangman, I feel like this reign is the first time we're actually being able to see him properly, like, develop as a draw himself. And granted, of course, like, his biggest stuff will be alongside the top stars, but I think if we carry on with this direction, with how they're presenting him and how he fits into the narrative of AEW as a promotion, I think you'll get to the point where he's the guy that can bring other people up as well. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, all of his biggest numbers and biggest work will be alongside like MJ, like the MJF number this past Wednesday. They drew one of the biggest quarters of the year. It might have been one of the best quarters this year that they drew. I think in the demo, and of course, like, everyone knows what MJF can do, business wise. Like, he loves to tell us, You see, he was shouting at Ibu. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, lit him up, bro.
Lit him up.
We remember that World's End buy rate, Ibu. You can't fool us. Samoa Joe and MJF, they packed him in, brother. How many people bought that pay, Monty? 3 million? And there's 3 or 4 million that bought that pay-per-view. We'll never forget
that. Don't even count illegal streams, bro.
Bro, I'll never forget. It was New Year's. It was December 30th, I think. And just everyone, just normal people texting me, who you got, dude? Joe or Max? And it's like, fuck. It took over the world. And that's what people forget about, when back in the olden days, you could do that. Like, every TV network wanted to show Samoa Joe MJF too. Like, who's the devil going to be? You remember people would ask you on the bus, who is it? I remember, I was there. People don't, like, it's just new fans. They've watched it in hindsight. They don't realise. You used to walk down the streets, Holbert, who you got? The devil. Joe, are you the devil? No, I'm not the devil. Of course I'm not. But We need to find out who he is. Live, World's End 2023. Buy the Blu-ray now.
Just had traumatic flashbacks of like doing. I think it might have been Dynamite review when that devil shit was going on.
Yeah. It was
remember when they attacked the Acclaimed?
Yeah. Yeah.
Backstage, like I remember just like I can't even remember what was said, who was on the stream of it, but I just remember it being like,
oh, it was tragic.
what the fuck is going on?
Obviously, I'm being silly because of course I am, but it actually did a good buy rate, which I've always found fascinating. And it shows you like wrestling fans love a mystery, bro. Even if the mystery is
horseshit.
Yeah, I remember. I've said this before, but I remember hearing like October time, hearing that Joe was going to win the belt, and just kind of going, "They do what they want with the devil thing, bro. As long as we get to there, I'm clean sailing." You know.
That's what it's all about, bro. You know.
Yeah.
So I was gonna. I was just thinking the other day, I think it was when Dynamite was on. I was just like, remember when Joe was world champ? You know.
And he had the suit at Daly's place. Yeah, that was a great moment.
Like, that's my shit. Like I like Hangman. I think he's great, and I think he should be the world champion right now. I'm not saying it's nothing. Yeah. It is literally nothing on Hangman. Hangman's great, you know. But it's just like Sam Joe as your world champ. Like that's my shit, bro. You know, like that is.
It was.
That's what I'm here for.
The Hook match was a moment in time, bro. That was like. With all respect, that match gets more impressive every time you see Hook. It's like, fuck, that was like a 4-star match.
Might be better, to be honest.
It was awesome. It was awesome, and
it was as perfect as it could have been, wasn't it? Like the way they played it, like the approach to it, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just everything, just the visual aspect of it. Like remember the sit down. I remember vividly when he sat down in the blue suit. And he's got the belt there, and he's doing like the promo. He was just that guy, bro. You know.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky to have seen that. You know what I mean? Honestly, like genuinely, because that's his only world title run at one of the big two. That's his only you know what I mean? So
because when he was the TNA champ, it was a bigger deal. But I get what you mean. It wasn't, the same as what that was.
It's not the same, bro. It just isn't. You know.
I tend to agree, yeah.
But yeah, man, seeing Joe hold like a real world title, do you know what I mean? Because AEW World Championship is definitely one of the most important prizes in the business. You know, 100%.
Pretty belt too, very pretty belt.
It is. It suited him. You know.
All the belts suit Joe, bro. He's one of those guys
over his shoulder.
Like there are some wrestlers that are made to be a champ. Joe is 100% one. He looks right carrying. Like even when he had the fucking Ring of Honor TV title, it was like that makes sense. He's got a belt, and he just carried it around and had non-title matches all the time. It was awesome.
I love where he's at, man. In AEW because obviously because remember when he came in and he was great. And then, positionally, he was kind of I don't want to say he was just there, but, he had, he was in, the TNT scene, and he was great with that. And it's it was almost like he was reminding us, for a few months, a year, however long it was. And then it was just got to a point where it's like, you know what, fuck it, world title program. And it's
yeah, I mean, look, the reality is, and it's not something I'm rushing to talk about ever again, but the reality is, fair or unfair, the CM Punk AEW divorce will be talked about for years and years to come. There will be documentaries, there will be books, there will be all of the above. And it did have an effect on Samoa Joe's trajectory. I think that's undeniable. I mean, he clearly handled it a certain way, and I think they clearly decided coming out of that they needed someone that everyone kind of could trust and was a pro's pro. And it's the next week in Chicago. Joe just lost to Punk, and they shoot the angle with Max in Chicago. Which I was there for, and in hindsight, that sets up the rest of the year, right? Because him and Max start feuding. I think Max loved working with Joe, and They had that long promo, which I'm not a big long in-ring promo guy, but the Joe and Max one had a really good like feel to it. Do you remember the atmosphere for that? People were kind of like, "Oh, this is cool."
Max has got a couple great ones, man. You know?
For sure, yeah, definitely.
He obviously he tries to do one every month, doesn't he? You know, but like,
God loves a trio. You know,
that's what I mean. It's like, and that's what you want. The thing is, like, it's like with Max because he does these big swings with his face-to-face promo, you know, and it's like we said, he like I was just saying, like. You know, he does swing a lot. But it's like, if he can hit 2 or 3 big ones a year, you know, that counts to it builds his legacy, man. You know, like at the end of the year, people don't talk about, you know, the face-to-face promos that just weren't that good unless they absolutely, you know, it's an absolute train wreck.
He's also a top guy, and the TV always, you know, you always want your top guys just out there in front of the people, right?
Doing anything, yeah.
Yeah.
Putting in time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. Shout out Max. Big swings. Alright, let's do a couple of super chats, and then I'm gonna talk to Joe about a couple things. Even though we didn't really do an extended convo on Forbidden Door, that weren't the plan anyway, people. Big Van Kale, 20 Mexican pesos, high money, favourite dinosaur. Hashtag the Tokyo tape. What's the bit here, Joe?
So I have no idea. Cal has just sent this to like 6 different streams I've been on. He's asked everyone. My answer was Luchasaurus. Some people have had like real answers and are more, have more expertise on dinosaurs. I don't think there's any depth to it than just Cal likes dinosaurs and wants to know your favourite.
I don't want to say T-Rex.
Yeah.
It feels it's
generic,
cliche. It's cliche, you know. I don't know, man. What are them? What are they called, bro? The Velociraptors or some shit.
Look at what Shoot's answer was in the chat. Once Jumanji Hunter's listed it in our chat there.
No, I can't. Give me, you know what? Actually,
yeah.
Give me Triceratops. Give me a Triceratops.
Fuck. There you go.
Going with the we got horns. You know what I'm saying? We don't fuck around. Yeah, we're going with Triceratops. Appreciate you, Kale. Short-term Spurs, $10. Appreciate you. As it's Prem opening day, if you could have any Premier League player not named Vinnie Jones have a celebrity match, who would you choose? I'd probably go Roy Keane. Nah, there's got to be better than Roy Keane, bro.
Gattuso.
Footballer.
That's Premier League. Fuck, never mind. Hang on. Premier League. Who would be a good heel? Your boy JT would be a money heel, bro. Have Marina Mexico.
John Terry's a piece of shit, man. They're all small though, ain't they? So it's like need a unit. You know what I mean?
Cantona is a good answer.
Cantona is actually a good answer.
He could be like an anti-hero, you know, like a Steve Austin type presentation. I'm not booking Joe Barton.
Yeah, fuck Joe Barton, bro.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Rooney.
You don't want to know what I'd book him in. He just Wayne Rooney in 205. Like, remember when he was in the crowd, bro?
Yeah.
Imagine Jose Mourinho as a heel manager.
Yeah, that would be money. That'd definitely be
money. The players though, obviously players that you want it is as well. Like, bro, footballers are boring.
Yeah, they got not a lot of personality. Yeah.
Yeah, like when somebody like a Mario Balotelli comes along, they're iconic forever because it's not like in the NBA, bro. Like when they're doing the press conferences and stuff, like they show personalities. They come across like real people. Like footballers are raw robots, bro. Like it's mad. So it's tough. Like when questions like this are always tough to answer because it's like you got the other like Roy Keane. Like he was a scrappy guy. Like do you know what I mean? He had a
good promo though, Monty. Good promo.
I think a bit overrated Roy Keane promos.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think to camera, you give him Mean Gene as an interviewer, I think you'd get some money out of Roy.
I prefer like the managers and that order when it comes to that shit.
Enough.
You know, like your
What about Adama Traore as a monster heel?
Big Sam. Big Sam as a big...
He had a gimmick and everything, didn't he? He had a whole gimmick, a shtick. Harry had a gimmick.
Big Sam would... Imagine Big Sam as a manager in wrestling.
General manager. Sam Allardyce.
Remember when he got caught? Oh, bro. Remember he's got the funniest stint as an England manager ever.
It was incredible.
Man got recorded in the pub. Where it was at the where was
I
it?
don't know. I remember seeing it.
It was some undercover journalist stitched him up, bro, talking about loopholes in transfers and the FA and that, and he's sitting there chilled as fuck with a pint of wine. Yeah, Big Sam. That's my. So I'm looking at. I love Big Sam order. I know he's not a player, but fuck it. Love Dogs Avery 199. Who you guys got in the UFC main event tomorrow? I'm gonna be that annoying fan that picks DDP.
Who is he fighting?
Chimaev. It's a tough ask, Chimaev's a monster, man. But I think there's something about DDP, man. That's just
He wins, but I can't. Watching that guy fight is just excruciating. I just can't. I can't do it. It's got to be one of the least aesthetically pleasing, like top tier fighters in the history of sports. Has to be. Everything he does is like ugly and just it's just no fun. Give me Chimaev. Fuck, I don't care. Wash sport. I'm done with it. Get it out.
Chimaev's a monster. If Chimaev wins, it will probably be like in like 2 rounds. Genuinely, because that's what he does. Like he runs through people, bro. Like
that first DDP Strickland fight was excruciating. Holy shit! Just the worst.
That's a bad styles clash as well, isn't it, man?
Yeah,
like,
they're both
Strickland and DDP. Because I think DDP kind of whether you call it sink or rises, I think he's one of those that does match the kind of output of his opponent in that sense. Do you know what I mean? So like if Chimaev, he's not going to because of his style as a very grapple heavy guy, but I think he would be very happy to go into shootouts if the occasion called for it. But yeah, I think DDP is very good, man. He's very good. He's not the most entertaining to watch, but a lot of these guys these days aren't that entertaining to watch, to be honest. Let's be real.
Yeah.
The sport's dying. It's not. It's doing record business, but
Yeah. I just don't want to.
What does that sound like?
Right.
Anyway, $5 from Sonic. Appreciate ya. So, what type of cage is it going to be? Surely it's not a normal one to fit all them guys. See, I think this is what I mean. I can't write off the chance of them doing a double cage with 10 man, bro.
I think it might be like a cell where they have the ringside area. That would help a lot.
That's what if I could pick, it would be that. Like the cell idea, like from the ground instead of doing it from the ring. Yeah, man. It's because I'm with you, Sonic. I'm 100% with you on that one.
Mm-hmm.
GMB 199. Possible that Cole Fredericks / Cota a package deal. Package deal?
I mean,
what?
I guess because they're together and they're both free agents. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think the market's rich enough to sort of go, we're a package deal. And that's pretty rough at this point in the game. I think they'll just go where they can go, which is what everyone will do in the business. There's not a knock on them.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. Like, yeah, I don't.
Like if AEW, just for example, if AEW offers Cota a deal, and they don't want Cole Fredericks, I don't think Cota's going to be like, well, hold on. Like I don't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, as much as I like Dakota Kai, I don't think she's got that much leverage.
Yeah,
in
she's
that
awesome.
situation.
Yeah,
I think she's great. I can't believe they actually got rid of her, to be honest. But
same,
they did.
Same.
And I absolutely think AEW should pick her up. 100%. I'd have signed her by now. Is it possible? Is it? I'd have had a pre-agreement or some shit in place.
I think she's maybe just come up. I'm not sure. I don't know when she was available.
Like, if I was TK, it wouldn't be a disaster because it's not going to affect fucking business one iota, is it? Let's be real. But like,
no.
I would class like if she somehow slipped into TNA's hands or some shit, I'd be like, what the fuck has gone on here? Like I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I think the only X factor with AEW and Cota that could make it an issue is I think she was clearly supposed to go there before and did not, and I think that could be a problem. So we'll see. I don't know.
Fuck
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying I know that can affect these things. Wherever she goes, I'll probably try my best to watch because I think Cota's awesome.
She's been up for 2 weeks ish apparently.
Okay.
Alright, Bryce, $4.99, appreciate you. Joe, my bruv, you coming to the orgy? What the fuck's going on there, Joe? What you planning over here?
I'm not
You coming to the orgy? Besides, what are you guys' thoughts on Ace Austin and AEW? Should he join the Bang Bang Gang? Bro, you can't just... That's...
No. That's got to be two different chats, bro.
Yeah, trust.
Like, because I'm no selling one, and then you expect me to go, so anyway, Ace Austin, let's talk about him. You know, it's difficult. Bryce, I will not be there. We do not know each other as far as I know. Ace Austin's a good pro wrestler. Very happy for him. I was a little bit concerned he was going to be one of those guys that leaves TNA and then just like goes back in 4 months, which has become a quiet tradition in the business. He's really good, dude. I think it'll be a really nice, like, AEW always has guys that can have good matches and put over the top stars. That's like a staple in AEW because that's how they do TV. And they need those guys to be fresh because you need, like, you know, you can't just have the same guys over and over again.
Yeah, it's got to be people who might click with the audience, you know what I mean? You know, like Speedball.
Exactly, perfect, yeah.
So you sign Speedball, and it's like, yeah, we'll just put him in there, and it's like, but he's actually really good, so it's like, there's every chance in front of that AEW audience that he'll just get over, and you can do more stuff with him.
Exactly, yeah. Ace
and you need people to put him over, you know.
Right.
Speedball still gets used to put over the top guys, like he just lost to Moxley. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a good signing.
But yeah, I think Ace Austin, as Joe's kind of outlined, he's a good fit, man. It's a very natural fit for him. Very natural next step in his career. And yeah, everything seems to be going pretty good for him at the moment. He's good, man. He's good. Got a good look as well. He's young,
quietly jacked. People don't realize he's kind of jacked.
Yeah, he's in great shape, bro.
Yeah,
great shape. And that always pops with young wrestlers these days because, you know me, Joe. I think wrestlers kind of lost the plot with the whole physique thing, you know?
Yeah. The Bang Bang Gang pitch is interesting. They obviously need some help. I would kind of avoid that because I think, like, that group kind of feels like a Frankenstein thing right now where it's sort of like... it doesn't really feel like a real group right now, which I guess Ace Austin could help, but would you want to immediately attach him to something? I don't know. But either way, I'm very, very happy for him.
Dylan Riley, $10. Everything about Collision, from the look to the presentation and the vibes, is so good. What are some things AEW could do to make Dynamite look more like and have a similar vibe to Collision?
So, this is a tough question to answer because I agree with you about Collision, but I wouldn't want Dynamite to have the same vibe.
It doesn't work for the promotion broadly, does it?
I think, if anything, Dynamite should go further in the opposite direction, so it has more of a distinct vibe.
Mm-hmm.
You can't reinvent the wheel with this stuff. Wrestling's been on television for as long as time, and it's hard to come up with new ways. I would like to see them experiment more with what Dynamite looks like. I think they are correct to think that Dynamite and Collision should have different vibes. I think that's actually the right approach. I just don't love the Dynamite vibe right now and prefer the Collision one. So you see what I'm saying? It's like, I'm with Dylan, we're on the same page, but my response would be, I don't think the answer is making Dynamite more like Collision. I think it's more about finding a vibe that is more enticing for Dynamite. For me personally, it's all subjective. But yeah, I think Dynamite, could be a bit more vibrant. I say that with a little bit of reluctancy because they had that like Fanta color scheme. I did not particularly like that look, so like I'm kind of a hypocrite in that regard. But
but vibrant doesn't mean a fucking
like that. Yeah, it was
colourful throw up. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because that's what it was, bro. It was just like you go from one extreme to the other, and you know we didn't need all that, did we?
The biggest thing I would like them to experiment with is having like an aisleway rather than the big set, their screen. I think wrestlers look so cool when they're walking through like a thin aisleway and everyone's fucking on camera, pumping their fists, high fives. I just think it looks awesome. I've always loved that, and I think the idea of a Will Osprey entrance in that environment where it's 18,000 at the O2 Arena with their arms over the barricade.
Grabbing at him and that.
Yeah, it's like, and obviously you need to pay security a little extra, pad the envelope on that. But you get what I'm saying. I just think it's, I think there's different ways I would experiment with that, but it's a tough question to answer because I think Dynamite needs to be different to Collision. I just think they could do a better job of finding something more distinct for Dynamite, I guess.
Yeah, I think Dynamite should definitely be more vibrant. As you were saying, all the things that you were just saying, and experiment with. Well, that's a great example that you brought up as well. It's AEW. It should be like Dynamite. For me, it was always like Dynamite should be the vibrant variety show with the big kind of personalities like your MJFs and people like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Collision was the more grounded, grittier, darker version.
Just a wrestling show, isn't it?
Yeah. And like I said, and it has more that grittier feel, to it, and it's like there's less pomp and circumstance, and whereas Dynamite is like, open it up with the big pyro and the bright vibrancy, and like I said, the big variety. It's almost like a celebration, a party of wrestling, where you've got your Hangmans, and then you've got your Okadas, and then you've got the Luchadors, and then you've got the great tag wrestling, and you've got all these different things mixed into one, and you've got Toni Storm doing her thing as well, and I think, like your Tonys, Mercedes, MJFs, Young Bucks, people like these vibrant variety characters, Okadas, Mystico when he's around, Hechiceros, those people. It's like a variety show,
One formatting thing that I like a lot that Rampage did, and I don't know necessarily if this would fit, but it's an idea that I do like generally. Do you remember when Rampage would do the deal where it'd be like, this is Rampage, boom, 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 and then you'd hit the ring and there'd be two guys in the ring ready to wrestle? I think there is value to that. I'm not necessarily saying it's a Dynamite or a Collision idea, but with how much... If you're trying to be different to WWE, right? Let's be real. How long does it take for WWE to do so on their TV? They have a recap video, they show you who's arrived at the venue, and then they generally do a promo, right? Generally, you won't see a wrestling match for 20 minutes on SmackDown or Raw. Generally. There's exceptions, but generally. I'm always intrigued by the idea of AEW establishing that, like, when the show starts, there will be a wrestling match. And you probably wouldn't do top guys because you want the top guys to have their entrance because the entrance is a big part of wrestling. But I don't know, man.
See, no, but the thing is, bro, if you're gonna do that, you have to mix in some top stars to really give the actual experiment of what you're saying a real chance to see if it, like, will people be rushing to their screens at 8 p.m. if they know John Moxley is wrestling fucking...
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Whoever it may be.
Here's the part of the experiment that interests me. You could do some really weird stuff with match times on that too. So, like, say for example, say you did Jet Speed versus Multos and Dralistico. And you said to them, boys, as soon as this show goes live, the bell's going to ring, you have 6 minutes to do everything you can come up with. Every single thing. 6 minutes. Because I can promise you, that may sound like a short amount of time. Those fellas would come up with like 80 different ideas for that 6 minutes. And then imagine at the end of that 6 minutes, you hit your Dynamite intro video or some shit. Or you do like a bumper or something to then bridge. Again, this is not an idea that I've fleshed out. I just always thought there was something to that Rampage formula. And I think there's always ways to play around with the format, experiment.
I'm always for that shit. Like, anything to do with playing around with the way things look and the way things are formatted. I almost like would love to encourage AEW to do more of it, because it's like wrestling TV has been done a certain way for the past 20 years, right. And it's like, of course, AEW is going to come along and they may fall into some of those tropes because it's all we've known as wrestling fans in terms of like big TV deals on the main networks, And I've always kind of had some sort of, not sympathy, but like giving Tony Khan some leeway because, like, bro, we're watching him learn on the job. This isn't some guy who's been in the business for 20 years, like who's stood like, and I think his heart, everyone knows at this point that his heart's in the right place when it comes to AEW, Mm-hmm. If you're like a Fulham FC fan or something, it probably annoys you, if anything. But of course, like, be brave and mate, do some experiment with things, man. See what works for you, what you can get away with, and kind of experiment with not doing the norms and doing things like what you've just suggested.
Yeah.
I need to get you in the office, basically, is what I'm getting at.
Look, that idea may suck. That all this stuff, but you have to. I just think it's an interesting try. I mean, EB brings up the
try it.
ECW TV was very different, and you could never do that. You wouldn't do that with the AEW, especially because it's live. It wouldn't make sense. But I just think there is a little bit of the format. I think is a little bit. It's a little bland across wrestling for the reason you mentioned. It's the only way people are familiar with it. And in AEW's defense, at times they would break from that format, and all they would get in response was, "Why does it not? Why is it different to what we've been seeing on the other?" So it's hard. You have to walk a tightrope with that, right? Like you want to give people something they're familiar with, but just different enough. So it's an interesting topic, definitely.
Bryce 499. Honest question, Brodies. Should AEW give more stars the creativity to change the colours of the titles, i.e., pink for Fletcher, brown for MJF, or red? I always think that you should be kind of careful with doing that because it kills the novelty, of when somebody does put their own leather strap or edits the belt. Because, these belts are sacred, brother. And if someone's going to deface the AEW World Championship, it either has to be kind of like a heel move or like, I'm not into like, I don't know, like Hangman should have a fucking cowboy themed belt. Like, no, bro. Like for why? Whereas like with MJF doing it as a heel,
it fit. Yeah.
It's kind of like, I want the belt to just be an extension of my fucking ego, which is basically how we try to present it, and so yeah, basically, I think we should kind of chill on it, if anything.
I think there is room to make one belt. Like, remember, because the TNT title at one point was like that, where everyone had like their own version of it. I think that's a good idea. Like the TNT title, that's its thing,
for the one belt, I guess. And it's like that belt's thing, like you said, like with the Miro belt. Right. What other belts did they do? I think Cody. Didn't Cody have one?
I'm not sure. Scorpio had like a Lakers one for a minute. He had it very briefly. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I like that. The world title, other than Max, I would probably leave because, as you just said, it's the world title. But the TNT title, that'd be a good way to differentiate, give it its own personality. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be against just the one belt being kind of like that belt, if that makes sense, where like that belt you can kind of use as part of your branding, or, you know what I mean? Multiple belts, and no, definitely not. Dylan Riley, $5. I feel like not having MJF Mystico at Forbidden. I think it says FB, but I think it means Forbidden Door. Forbidden Door might be a bit of a miss. Still excited for the main, but the Mass versus title and Hangman Briscoe would have ruled.
Yeah, I get it. I think CMLL might have wanted that match, and I do not know that. That's just my feeling. I feel like
I think that's always been the plan.
I think they wanted that match because the last time they wrestled was at Arena Mexico, but it was an AEW show, right? Like. It's a big match, and I think, that's why.
Yeah, like I agree. They're fucking,
the guy. He's the guy.
That's what I mean. It's like they need something back from it. So
I will say, I think you and I both certainly wouldn't have argued if we got Hangman and Briscoe. I hope we get that at some point. Regardless.
Of course not. There was a little part of me that kind of hoped for it, but
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. Sonic $5, that's super chat for now. SmackDown has the same problem with vibes, just why? Yeah, SmackDown's terrible, bro. Like, we don't even need to pick that part. Appreciate you though, brother. Alright, Joe, like I said at the top end of the show, you're a big star now. You're working on things, you're working on projects, you're working with celebrities, talents, athletes, producers, editors, script writers, screenwriters, agents, booking managers, transportation services. Anyway, so I don't know what you got. Two pretty big projects coming up. I want to talk to you about the 24-hour stream because those of you, if you know. However long ago it was, Joe did his 24-hour stream on the late night green, and it was an experience. It was a moment in time, bro. Like I still remember it vividly. Just popping into it, and it was just Joe in the hot seat doing his thing for 24 hours. He's fucking, and by the end of it, I think it killed him off for like a week of streaming
Yeah.
after. It finished him. But, people tried to help out, popping in and out. Like, I'd come in, do an hour. Ibu would show up at like 3 a.m. in the morning and do like 3 hours with him and shit like that. And, but you're doing it a bit different this time. So talk to us, Joe. 24 hours charity stream. What charities or charity is it for? What's the current rundown that you're allowed to give away? What surprises, if there is any? What we're talking about here, Joe? Let's do a proper plug for us.
I'm not kayfabing you when I say that there really isn't a rundown or any surprises book. We're just hoping some of those come to fruition by pure chance.
It's 24 hours.
It's 24 hours.
How much can you book,
Exactly. So the young guns on Late Night Grin, Brainbuster, Caden and Novi, one of them, I think it was busted just on a whim, was like, if Hangman wins the belt, we'll do a 24-hour stream. Because do you remember at one point it wasn't necessarily clear Hangman was going to win the belt, right? It was kind of like...
Yeah, of course, with Max's run.
Right.
Understandably
and then he won the belt, and the lads began to sort of regret that declaration. And I said to them, we've got to do it, boys. So this year will be a lot more, because we haven't done it for a couple of years. The last time, the one you mentioned, I literally just did a 24-hour wrestling podcast where I just like talked about wrestling the entire time like a lunatic. I think I could do about half an hour of that now. So this time it will be a lot more, I'll be in and out and the young guns again. Caden Lee is trying to be there for the whole thing. We're splitting the funds. So we're doing this. I've set this up through a Just Giving deal. And they have a team function where it's like, it's our, fundraising stream, but you can split the funds directly. So they don't have to worry about me sending it via PayPal and fucking everything up. So... the Gina Rose Montalto Foundation is a near and dear cause for Caden Lee, a friend of Caden's that he lost, and it is about helping folks chase higher education and funding that, and so that's something that means a lot to Caden. And secondary, one that I think the audience will be more familiar with is the Trevor Project. So we're going to be splitting those. If you donate when we're on the air, you can actually pick like where your money goes. We're going to be when we're doing the stream, we're going to be trying to kind of tell the audience, we would like to keep the funds evenly distributed, right, obviously. But if you feel passionately, I want to give money to this or those two causes, you can do that too. So it works out beautifully. Along the way, we're going to be playing some Fire Pro, some TEW.
TEW?
Yes, we're going to be watching Collision.
Finally.
We're going to watch Collision. We're going to watch maybe a little bit of the AAA show. Definitely going to watch the G1 final because we go live at 6 Eastern on Saturday night. So about 12 hours in, G1 final's on. They're going to watch that. So, I mean, this. I said it to you earlier. We do a lot of bullshit, and this is saying we can do a real thing. I'll post the link later tonight because obviously mostly want to have the link when we're on the air, right? But I try and give it a little bit of a run up, and I've got the funds started already. So I'm excited. Hopefully, I'm not needed for more than 16 hours. That'd be nice. I'd like to get a sleep at some point.
That's like a wrestler saying, I want to get this match done hopefully in under 80 minutes.
Well, I know what I'm like.
16 hours, I just couldn't, man.
We both know what I'm like, dude. Like, on that Sunday, because for us in the UK, Sunday will run through to 11 p.m. Let's be real. Once I get up on Sunday morning, I'm probably going to be around for most of that day, aren't I? Let's be honest. But we have a bigger roster now. I know the young guns are going to be there. Marcus is going to be there for some of it. And we'll see who else shows up. I mean, it's hard to sort of book people because it's 24 hours, so everyone's just kind of like, we'll see where I am at,
Yeah, it's just like, what you're going to do, just drop off the StreamYard link to everybody.
I think so. Yeah, I think
that would be my approach, I think. Just shoot that link out to about 20 people and be like, if you're passing through, let me know. But
it'll be cool. It'll be cool.
It's cool that you do these things, man. You got a good team of young lions over there. They're on the come up. And look at them, they're booking their own shows and shit now. Look what you've done, Joe. This could be it could be a great thing. It could be a mess.
As long as we raise money, I don't care how bad the stream is, to be honest. I really don't. And here's a fun part too. So YouTube has a 12-hour limit to archives. And you know what I'm like? I'm a lunatic with this stuff. I don't want there to be... Who knows who shows up in that second 12 hours? I can't lose that stuff forever. That'd be brutal. So we're going to split it across our two channels. And so that means that at 6 a.m. our time, 1 a.m. Eastern, we're going to be like, right, guys, move to the second stream. And there is no way. Most of the audience is definitely going to go, I'm actually going to go to bed, Joe, with all due respect. I'll join you later. I mean, there's no way anyone's clicking that link at the end, at 1 a.m. But it's all for two great causes and chance to do something vaguely real with this wrestling stuff. So should be a wonderful time.
If anyone remembers the last one, there's a lot to look forward to, man. The kind of randomness of it,
Yeah.
I swear, like, you had mans like John Alba popping
John
on. You know what I'm saying? No, shout out John Alba, and
there's like 2 hours on there where Alba and Ibu are doing like a 3-man booth with me, I want to say. It's just fun. Yeah.
If you're into, your Wrestle Purist, your Late Night Green, Self-Made, and all those surrounding people and familiar faces, like, obviously I'll try to pass through Ibu, I'm sure pass through probably multiple times. Everybody usually, everyone kind of passed through the last one, didn't they? So, any bigger, is anyone missing that, we need to know about? Like, is Oracle, we getting Oracle, we getting Bob, we getting
I'll
Shooter?
be honest, I don't really know. Everyone's approach has kind of been, I'll pop by at some point. So this is really up in the air. Like, I don't really know what this is going to look like, this thing, to be honest with you. It's only a day away, which is not ideal, but I mean...
Crosby going to do a heel running,
I think there is a chance, this is a scoop for the Wrestle Purist viewers, I think there is a chance that Jack joins us to watch the AAA show. Which is superb, I have to say. So, yeah, maybe.
Shout out to AAA, man. Alright. Okay, then. That's one project. So everybody support that. Get your wallets ready. Make sure you're sending your money. Like, I can say it because it's not my show. Do you know what I mean? But make sure you get your fucking money out. It's for charity. How often do any of us do anything for charity? Let's be real with ourselves. You might donate to something once a month, but what do you really do for charity? I never see anybody in the live chat talk about feeding the homeless or donating to children in need or anything like that. So do something, Let's do something together as a community. And a 24-hour wrestling charity stream is the best we're coming up with, but you get me? Support the cause, people. It's good shit, man. As Joe said, it's nice every now and again to kind of swing and try and do something remotely real with our platforms or opportunities to stream and provide content or whatever the fuck you want to call this shit, So that's one. And now the second one, the Tokyo tape. The quote big one, as it has been billed multiple times throughout. Feels like about a month, Well, when did you start doing like real promo for it? Because like you've been hinting at it for fucking ever.
So I interviewed Machine Gun in late May. That's insane. And my approach was, I'm going to promote that we're doing this thing with Machine Gun, and then the pop will be the other three, right?
Okay, beautiful.
So I basically have been like saying it's coming soon for 3 months, basically, is what I'm telling you, which is hilarious.
So yeah, Joe's been working. A lot of his 2025 has been dedicated to this masterpiece that he's putting together with his production crew, guests. Like I said, I did the whole list earlier. I won't do it again. So it's a project of interviews about a certain match that we don't have any real footage of, really. We have a few minutes on. It's almost like the Tom McGee Bret Hart match. If any of you guys are kind of familiar with like the legend of that before the tape came out a couple of years ago, there was this legend of this legendary Bret Hart Tom McGee match, and Tom McGee was this guy who was in WWE, and he was billed as like this phenomenal athlete, great look. He was an absolute shoo-in for being a top guy, and it just never worked out for him. And apparently, part of the reason for some of the early praise he was getting was this Bret Hart match, which was on a house show or some shit. It was never televised, and it became this legend over the years. For like 20 years, that legend built up, didn't it? Of the famous Tom McGee Bret Hart match. And then eventually it came out on the network, and it was this whole thing. There was watch parties. It was everything, Yeah. And it ended up just being a pretty decent match, and it was just Bret Hart just kind of carrying some newbie from a match, kind of as, I guess, what most people would expect. But apparently it had Vince and Co. thinking that they had the next fucking Hulk Hogan or something, right. But yeah, in kind of a very similar manner, there was a WWE live show in Tokyo. And it featured when I was watching it early, it felt like an impromptu, just random match that came together of FTR and the Good Brothers.
this is part of what makes this interesting. So this is a match that doesn't, it doesn't really have that reputation, right? It's a thing that I've talked about for years because, of course, I have. Seth Rollins tweeted during the match, like, flame emojis or some, he said it was a great match. And it got a little bit of buzz. What makes this match unique historically is they did a double duty thing where they wrestled Hawkins and Ryder, the Good Brothers, that is, and then they wrestled the Revival for the tag titles. And things happen as a result of that puts the match in jeopardy of ever taking place. In addition to that, and this is something... So when I initially had this idea, I was like, I'm going to interview the guys for 5 to 10 minutes. We'll piece it together, and that'll be that. And then I began to realize that, like, there's a lot more to this than I understood. There is a whole saga that takes place over that weekend that ultimately would decide the Good Brothers' future with the big contract and all of that. That all happens on that weekend in Tokyo. There is a injury that puts the match in jeopardy that I just mentioned. There is all sorts of stuff, and what it quickly became was, and we understand this is a niche topic, but that's why it's our topic, right? This is not going to be saying that you're going to get on Dark Side of the Ring or on a fucking ESPN 30 for 30. This is our thing. What became apparent is this is a match that kind of serves as a snapshot of the era. This is mid-2019, which is maybe the worst stretch of WWE ever, outside of, like, post-pandemic WWE. And everyone, all 4 guys are at different points in their career and their lives. At the time of when they take off and head to Tokyo, all 4 of them think they're leaving WWE. By the time they return, that would not be the case. And all of that, all that entails. And it's a match that I think means... I was actually amazed when I asked all of them, like, it meant a lot to all of them. Because they're friends and this was a match they had. They didn't have a chance to have great TV matches, dude. That was not the era to have... No one had great TV matches, really. It was a terrible time, wasn't it? It was brutal. Another piece of lore that's fun is at the Royal Rumble pre-show in 2018, they had a match that Vince McMahon deemed the worst he'd ever seen, which I got to ask them about. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. Like, the biggest thing I want to stress to those of you that saw the trailer, especially the Twitter trailer, which is shorter and cuts some of the kind of meaty stuff out. This is more than just a thing about a match you guys haven't seen, because we understand that's ridiculous. There's stuff in here that I think is genuinely interesting, and to give you an example of how in depth it is, this thing is over 100 minutes long. It's over on 100 minutes long. Cash Wheeler,
real interviews.
Dude, everyone gave me a lot of time. Cash Wheeler is... I think everyone's great on it. I think... I said this to you before we went live. Cash Wheeler steals the show, to be honest with you. Cash Wheeler is so awesome on this thing.
Which is quite the achievement when you got Gallows, Carl Anderson, and
I spoke to Cash for 45 minutes, and at one point, we began to talk about something that wasn't even on my format, and it's so compelling that we just made its own segment. Cash has his own segment on the show in the middle. There's like an interlude that's just Cash Wheeler, and other people talking. So, yeah, there's a lot there, and I think you guys are going to like it. And there's some laughs, because there's always laughs when the Good Brothers are around. I mean, goodness gracious, there's always laughs for those fellows.
So, from my understanding, kind of watching you, have this project that you've been kind of, working on throughout the year. It feels like it started as something, like you said just now, that you didn't want it to just be like kind of talking about a match that nobody's ever seen. Like you wanted to kind of like pad it out with some more stuff and make it a bit more interesting to the audience. But along doing that, you ended up almost like stumbling across this match that was a lot more significant than you ever thought it was, because it's not just some cool match that happened in Tokyo that we didn't see. Like maybe you went into this project thinking it was. It ended up being a very, very significant match in the careers of FTR and the Good Brothers. So of course, getting into all that, I can imagine how interesting it was for you doing it.
Right, of course,
finding out all this stuff at the same time as recording it. Yeah, man, it's really cool to see you kind of work on a little project like this, and to kind of see it almost snowball into something more than I guess you originally intended it to be. Then the trailer dropping, and it's this tangible thing now, and it's like,
cool.
was it Rice did a great job of it, you've got You got quite the production staff over there, you know, Late Night
It was
Green
cool,
Productions. They're doing the thing, man.
I'm thankful for everyone that tuned in and supported the tweet and all that stuff. Like, I'm amazed we didn't spoil it, genuinely. For months, we just didn't want to spoil it, because what we wanted to give the audience a chance to react to the surprise. And, like, this audience is a bit different, but the Late Night Grin audience, like, I don't know if you saw the live chat premiere, but that was really cool seeing everyone react. Like, oh, it's Dax, wait, Gallows, and Cash. Like, having all of that at once, because they knew Machine Gun was on, but it was awesome. And what makes the match, you know, we kind of hope this will lead to the Vault uploading the match, like, sneaking it out there, because on the same show as this match, Triple H has his last...
Is that the goal?
Yes, it is. I said this on the thing.
That's the goal.
Triple H has his last real match on this show. And sometimes the Vault will upload more than one match from a show, right? They'll upload it as like a set. Let's be honest. They're not going to upload this as an individual match because, of course, they're not. It's two AEW guys versus two guys they just let go. Could I see the Vault guys sliding it out alongside a Triple H retirement match? Now, that seems more possible. So we're trying to get people excited and talking about it. And there's a whole bunch of moving pieces in it. I mean, to give you an example of how proud the guys are of the match, Dax says it's their best main roster match in WWE, and they had some good shit on the main roster. Dude.
Yeah, they did. Because I watched it earlier. Like, even though what we see it's literally like 3 minutes and it skips ahead and like you don't even see like the finish. You know, like
no, you don't.
You kind of just get a glimpse of like the crowd getting more into it through those 3-minute clips. You know. Yeah, it's sort of going. You can get a good idea of kind of like the energy in the room, and obviously like who's playing heel, who's playing babyface, blah blah blah. Like you can get like very little things from it. Yeah, you'll get a little pop out of it, but it is very, 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 very incomplete. You know, it's more kind of like. I mean, you won't say the legend may be too strong of it, but it's more kind of like the story surrounding the match, and you know.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, you don't have to. If you have no interest in either team, then that may be a challenge. If you have no interest in the match, you're like with the consensus on that. This is not a real folklore thing. It's a match that I know the guys loved and I've heard people talk about. But what we want to do with this, and when we, you know, you guys watch, tell us what you think when you see it. But the hope is you guys are going to find this interesting for following the match. I mean, I don't think the match comes up for an hour. You know, we talk about everything else, and there's some dramatic stuff. My favorite part of the whole thing, to be honest, is I think there is a perception of Cole Anderson that he has willingly leaned into and had fun with, of him being like, he's just all about the money, right? He's this sort of... And he's
bright
had fun
lights.
with that, and bright lights and all that stuff. There is a moment... So I sent that YouTube video, the 3-minute one, to all of the boys before they interviewed them. And there is a great moment where Machine Gun Cole Anderson is like, look, people can say what they want about me. I love pro wrestling. And he starts breaking down the match. And it's fucking awesome, dude. Like, he's so fired up about how good the FTR guys are, you know? And he's just breaking it down. And it was cool for me because, obviously, like, I see the way people perceive him and I see something more resembling the reality of that. And to be able to bring that to some sort of light was cool. So, I mean, all of those guys were so sweet. And, like, to give you some context, and I'll tell this wherever I can when I'm promoting this thing because I want to put him over. And Monty knows this because we have talked about it. I do not have any relationship with, like, I know Machine Gun. I don't have a relationship with the other 3 guys until this. And you know that, right? Because you would always be surprised for how much I put FTR over, right? No, I would interact with them on Twitter occasionally. That's it. I didn't know them, right? And all of this came from, by pure chance, I just tweeted out of the blue that I had a shit day one day. And Cash Wheeler fucking reached out privately and was like, I'm sorry you had a bad day, man. I hope things get better. And I thought, why the fuck is Cash Wheeler DMing me? It blew me away. And if that makes me a mark, I'm happy to be a mark. That blew me away. When you're having a rough time, Cash Wheeler DMing you is pretty cool. You know, it's like, it's a cool thing. And I got to thank him for that when we recorded, because what that led to was, you know, he followed me and DM'd me, and then Dax, I think, followed me back a couple of weeks. And I remember talking to Ebert about it, and I said, hey, bro, do you think the guys will want to do this? And he was like, they'll absolutely do that. And so what happened was, within a month, I went from having communication with one of those guys to suddenly, like, scheduling with 3 of them. And then I went through I asked Machine Gun about Gallows, and Gallows was in. Gallows took a while to record with. But he always said to me, and I knew he was telling the truth because I could tell. He was like, I'm very busy. But I need you to know I want to do this. This is actually a cool thing to me. This is not like because it's fucking a house show match, right? They can't believe anyone gives a shit about it. So when I eventually recorded with Gallows, that was cool. And that was only this week I finally got Gallows, which was a lot of the hold up. But it's been awesome, man. Like, I can't say I know all these guys front to back. I don't, obviously, right? I recorded them for 40 minutes and I've messaged them about it. But they have all been just wonderful in my dealings. So I have to put them over for that. It's been great.
It's good shit, man. It's been cool to, like, as you know, as a friend, it's just been cool to kind of watch it all unfold, and you know, watching your friend work on a project and seeing it come to life, especially when it's something that, you know, like, I know it's something that like you're really into.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it may do really well, it may do okay or whatever, but it's more so that like you're doing something that like you want to do, and it, you know, like even if it wasn't for YouTube, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You was doing a straight to DVD.
I told you
know,
years ago, Monty gave me the chance years ago to do those video essays, and I drove myself fucking insane doing them. But I remember saying to you when we did the FTR one, which was the first one, I was like, look, bro, I don't know what it's going to do on YouTube because I don't know anything about YouTube. I was like, what I know is this is a video that I can show friends and family, and it makes what I do look a lot more stylish than me just sitting here on a StreamYard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something I could show for my... And this is the same. You know, to be completely honest, these two teams are so over in my family that they've been like... Everyone in my family's been harassing me. Like, when is it going to be out? When are you going to record with Gallows? Is Gallows going to do it? Like, that's my life. Like, it's been driving me nuts. But they're all... You know, they know it means a lot to me, and... One of the things that's cool to come out of it is there's a
I can't get over the idea of Papa Hall being like,
oh, he's losing his shit, bro. He loves FTR, you know.
Well, when's Gallows gonna fucking get in the booth, mate?
That's honestly been that's all they talk to me about for months. That's my favorite thing about getting it done. But one of the other cool things I should have mentioned earlier that becomes a theme of it, and this shows in the extended trailer especially, is like, it's also interesting from a house show point of view. This was 6 years ago. This was still when the boys were doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday house shows, Monday, Tuesday TV because the wild card rule. And trust me when I tell you, you get an extensive look at what that schedule was like. And there's even a little bit of talk about how that's evolved over time and how different wrestling is now as a result of that. Because now, I mean, that is a distant memory for good and bad. There's pros and cons to that. And I like to think that what we produced here shows you the positives and negatives of how different wrestling is. So, lots in there. I hope everyone enjoys it. I really appreciate the support, and I appreciate your kind words, Monty.
And when's it dropping? And yeah, where and when is it dropping?
LNG Productions channel. It'll be the 21st, so 6 days now. It is penciled in to be at 6 Eastern. I say penciled in, and the reason it isn't on the promotional material is I am fully expecting something insane to happen on that day and us to have to adjust the start time. So I'm like, it'll probably be 6 Eastern, but in the unlikely chance that like Tony Khan buys fucking, you know, All Japan or something, we're just going to say probably. But it will be the 21st. It's, you know, just shy of 2 hours long. We want to have the premiere really rocking. We want to have people in the chat having fun, enjoying it. We want to get the hashtag moving. I'm going to try my best to promote this to the best of my ability. And all the boys, you know, have tried to sort of engage with it, and it is very, very strange, I have to tell you, to go on your Instagram on a Thursday night and see a Dax and Cash story, click on it and hear your voice. A deeply unsettling experience at 5 a.m. Just horrible. But it's fun, you know? It's fun.
It's good shit, man. Good shit. We love to see it. So support that, people. And I'm sure a lot of you are already interested and hooked in. But yeah, man, the Tokyo tape. Is that what you're calling the stream? Just not the stream, the premiere, the Tokyo tape.
It was originally going to be called like Chasing the Tokyo tape. It's like, fuck, let's just call it the Tokyo tape, bro. Like, no one else knows what that is, you know? Let's just call it that.
Fairs. Alright, couple of super chats then. We're getting out of here, people. So last chance if you want to get one in. Saint Theodore, $2 Canadian. Let's take gather this super chat money and buy TNA. It's crowdfund buying TNA. Listen, man, if you want to crowdfund a Wrestle Purist promotion, I can get Joe, Ibu, myself. I can put together a nice little booking committee that I think would make you guys happy. And so just keep that in mind, and just keep that in mind. Andrew Brown, $5. Why is WWE actively trying to kill AEW compared to TNA? Honestly, if you're genuinely really interested in this stuff, I honestly think it is worth subscribing and reading through today's newsletter by Dave, because he speaks really extensively on it, and I'll try and kind of briefly summarize a lot of it. But it's just with WWE, of course, they're in this situation at the moment where they don't want to do anything where they look like they're monopolizing the business, you know? And I guess that's probably a big part of the reason why they haven't just straight up bought TNA, you know, and just done what they've done with AAA. So for them, it's like, we would rather TNA be the number 2, of course, than AEW, because AEW is a direct competitor and they're not friends with WWE the way that we can manipulate, and well, not even necessarily manipulate, the way that we can coerce our way into being TNA's best friend, big brother relationship, and you know what I mean, we can control them almost, you know. So like there's that side of it of like, we can get TNA to play ball. Obviously, WWE is never going to get Tony Khan to play ball for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's never, ever happening, and they're very well aware of that. And of course, they see Tony Khan as a very viable threat. They don't want another wrestling promotion getting $185 million a year TV deals. They don't want to see that. They want to eradicate that. And if there is a promotion that's going to do that, they would rather it be a promotion that's friendly with TNA, that they have some stake with or some control with, like, you know, like a TNA, you know, they would rather TNA be getting that secondary, you know, wrestling TV deal. So they've apparently they've done a deal like what they did with a lot of the Brit Rest promotions and European promotions before, where they had the option to potentially buy the promotion through their partnership. There's a period where they have the option to buy the promotion. So that's apparently the deal that they've worked out with TNA, where they're working in partnership at the moment and they're helping each other out more so. You know, some people will call it a one-sided relationship, but whatever, you know, they're in partnership, and WWE have the option to buy TNA if they want it. And I think more significantly, what they also have is first refusal to match or beat any other offers that come in for TNA. So basically, that just means that they can control who the number 2 is, you know. So one of the things that Dave highlighted in the newsletter is WWE are not going to let somebody buy TNA who isn't going to play ball with WWE, you know. So WWE's actual ideal situation, I think, based off what Dave's writing, was that another billionaire comes in to the game, basically. Another super rich guy comes into the game, or super rich company or investment fund comes into the game, buys TNA that can kind of compete with Tony on a financial level, but they have that deal in place where they still kind of have control and can kind of feel friendly with the number 2 and not feel threatened the way like. But they don't want to just buy TNA outright, because that could lead to complications with them and the accusations of monopolising the business. Right. So basically, I think what WWE wants isn't going to happen. Like, I don't see another huge money guy coming in, buying up TNA and being like, I'm going to be the person that competes with Tony Khan. And obviously they can be like, then put TNA on Wednesdays, because the only person that benefits is WWE. TNA going on Wednesdays does not benefit TNA. It hurts AEW, and that would only make sense for somebody that cares more about the downfall of AEW than the success of TNA, which would be WWE in that situation, you know. So there's a lot to it, and it's none of this is confirmed. I'm not taking Dave's word as fact, but I think he has obviously better insight than you or I. And you know, this is like his shit that he likes to get into, isn't it? You know, and so
But what was the report last night about Lorenzo Fertitta? Because that screamed what you just described, which is direct, clear friend and ally of the people in charge at TKO, who could bulk up TNA, but could do it as like a partner alongside them. That's what that screamed, to be honest. You're like a way around buying the company outright.
He did it. I didn't buy too much into that, because it's like, it's so out there, isn't it? Like like you said, it's like, of course, like Lorenzo Fertitta, you know, ex-UFC guy, blah 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 blah, you know. But it's almost like, I don't know how much legs that has at the moment, because even from like Dave's long write up about it, he only like touched on it like, there's some rumours about Lorenzo Fertitta being injured. No, not injured. Not interested.
He will be soon if he buys TNA.
Listen, that would be probably. Listen, I think the Fertitta brothers are fucking phenomenal at what they do. You know, so.
Oh, for sure, but it's more. The problem is if he buys TNA, I doubt it'll be because it's just a sincere. You know, he wants to get in the wrestling game. I presume it's because he wants to help his pals.
Yeah, he probably
out.
wouldn't have anything fucking to do with it, mate. He'd probably just put the money down. That's another reason why I didn't really. I couldn't see him doing that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I don't fucking know the guy, and with these billionaires and stuff, it's very limited how much you know about them and how they do business, you know. But like, when I seen the rumor pop up on the timeline yesterday, I was kind of like, what? Like, that don't.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know what his relationship is with those folks anymore either. I haven't got any fucking clue.
And maybe they could do it as like, this is what I mean, like with WWE playing these kind of like, trying to play this complex game at the moment, which I think, I think it is quite a complex game that they're trying to do. First of all, I don't think it's that necessary, you know.
Well,
to like, it's not really that necessary, is it? Let's be honest. Like, WWE is doing great business even when the product is up and down, you know. I don't know, Joe. It's just weird company, isn't it?
I think what people admit, and I'm not, look, this is not a positive. I'm just being real. I think people that are looking at it as like TNA can't beat AEW, it's like that is absolutely not what they're trying to do here, is it? They're trying to slow AEW down. And also, in addition to that, what they want to do, from a perception point of view, they want to reframe things as like, that's who AEW's fighting with. That's what they really want to do. It's because, let's be real, we know what's going to happen. If they get a TV deal and they go on Wednesday nights, we all know they're going to throw some fucking crazy... Like, there's going to be a guy from WWE who goes and works that show, and they're going to beef it up and bulk it up. It still is going to level out because they haven't got the talent pool to compete. But that isn't really what they're trying to do. They're trying to slow AEW down and also present to the public that it's an AEW versus TNA thing rather than AEW versus WWE thing. Now, I don't say any of this in a sort of an admiration way, or the sense of like, oh, they're doing a great genius thing. I still think it's all fucking stupid, to be honest with you. But it's that, and it's also complicating the media rights landscape too, right? Where they want as few bidders as possible for AEW. So
yeah, they want when basically when 2027 comes around or whenever it is, they want the TV, the TV companies to be like, why spend 200?
Montel's wires unplugged. He'll be back in mere moments. A hook here, folks, as Monty closes out his thoughts on this hot topic. He'll be back any moment now. Stay tuned. Stick with us. Post the ad break. Here he comes. He's returning any second now. He's plugged back in, and he's about to hit unmute. Boom. There he is.
How could you tell? I bet, bro, that was the faintest touch on the wire ever, man. Look, I need another new mic. Where was I?
I don't know. I did so much stalling, I don't know. You were talking about Lorenzo and
Tony,
the media rights.
Yeah, they don't. Obviously, they want these companies to think twice when they're about to drop 200 mil on AEW in 2027. Like, why would we spend 200 mil on AEW that's getting a 0.18 when we can get TNA for 50 mil that's doing a 0.004 or whatever? Do you know what I mean? Or whatever whatever they think they can get it up to, because obviously the viewership with TNA is pitiful, isn't it? I don't see any sort of competition stemming from WWE's pretty unnecessary attempts. As I said, I found it all unnecessary. WWE is number one. It's going to stay the number one. I don't see AEW closing that gap, but even to the way that they closed it in 2021 when it came to like the demos and stuff like that. I think that kind of window was closed for AEW, and it would take quite a lot for them to get close enough again like that, But at the same time, it's like, as far as way I think AEW is from WWE in terms of like size of promotion and stuff, like, quality is a completely different subjective conversation,
Certainly.
you know. I think, you know, AEW is a lot closer to WWE than TNA is to AEW.
Oh, by far,
And I think, and
yeah.
like I was just mentioning, like I think AEW is like worlds away from WWE when we're talking like business, because
Yeah.
factually it just is, isn't it? You know, but TNA is like,
Oh,
you're basically starting from square one, and if you're like trying to, if you're actually like, say if Lorenzo
yeah.
Fertitta was like, fuck it, do
The
you know what I
way
mean?
that
I'm buying
people,
TNA. Like, you're starting from fucking square one, basically.
I can actually say this because I've watched more TNA TV than anyone should have this year. The way that people analyze and assess the TV from WWE and AEW, if you watch TNA TV with the exact same through the exact same lens, you would make it like 20 minutes, dude. There's so much stuff on those shows that shouldn't even be on TV. Like, yeah, 100%. But again, it's like, I don't know, man. I think some of this stuff I think is really kind of a bad look, to be completely honest. And there's a lot of bad looks when it comes to WWE that never really actually lead to any sort of, everyone sort of goes, oh, they're doing it again, which is a shame. But I think the pay-per-view thing is like so stupid. It's one thing to send the NXT guys out there to fucking get their show like, swallowed up by AEW. I think doing a Brock Cena match is like the most on-the-nose way of making yourselves look like the villains to people. And I get a lot of people don't care. I know, but I also know there's a lot of people
they're
that are like,
working on trying to get it next to go
yeah,
competing with
I
All
know.
Out as well, and it wasn't even meant to be on it. And also, Joe, on the 27th that they're aiming to do, it's not just All Out competition. Like, there's like sports and shit going on. Whereas
Yeah.
I think the 12th or whatever the other date they were planning to do on, like, they had a free run to do John Cena's fucking retirement match, bro. Like, that should be something that, like, that is definitely something that you're gonna draw casuals in. Like, you see, if you're an NFL fan, bro, that hasn't watched fucking wrestling for 15 years, and you hear that John Cena's retiring and there's no other sports on, there's a good chance you're putting that shit on, bro. Like,
Yeah, it's just stupid, man. It's just
so but you know, taking 10, 20,000 pay-per-views off AEW, which would be a significant financial hit, to be honest. Like, but it shouldn't matter to fucking WWE, bro. AEW missing out on a few $100,000 shouldn't fucking matter to WWE. You know, like, it's not gonna hurt them enough. They've got $185 million a year deal, bro. Like, what are we doing?
And that's it. But that's what you get back to is it isn't about that. Is it? It's actually about obscuring the coverage and the excitement. That's what it really is about. It's about making the conversation about them. But there's got to be a time and a place. I just think a lot of this is stupid, and I think it is here's what I would say. Let's be real. If you look at the numbers, they're still doing very well in a lot of areas. I mean, they still sell a lot of tickets, all that stuff.
Yep.
You and I are both very aware of the situation. We're not trying to overpresent this as some, oh my God, the tides have turned. I think we're both aware there's a long way to go. What I would say is, I think there is some work to be done creatively before you want to start making people compare your shows right now. Because I think you and I would agree, we've both liked stretches of this regime. They are not exactly in rhythm right now, brother. This is a weak time creatively to be going, let's pit ourselves against this show and that show.
You know, I think our good pal Jenny pointed out on Twitter, like, incredible timing to like do all this, you know, because like your product is not as good as it's been in the past few years. You know, you're in a bit of a slump at the moment creatively, internet fan perception wise. Because again, as Joe said, it's always important to, like, when we have these conversations, we're not saying the houses are down and they're doomed and business is failing and what they're doing isn't working. It's like just perception amongst the online fan base, you know, is very kind of like down on WWE, not just quality of product wise, just like, then obviously you've got the Brock thing as well now, you know, and of course a lot of the wider audience may not care about that. A lot of the wider audience may still be popping huge for the quality of the shows, you know, but you know, there's in a critical sense, they're not, you know, as Joe said, they're not really in a place where you want to be compared to anybody at the moment, you know.
And
so.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is when they put people in two groups, right? Fan who is so online that they're watching this show, and fan who has never like seen a wrestling tweet. That's the way people view wrestling fans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this fan base hates Jey Uso, this one loves him. Dude, there are so many people in the middle. Like, here's the perfect example. When Penta shows up on Raw, people fully knew who he was and knew like they were ready for it because people are online. For example, how many followers does the Wrestle Purist account have, Monty? What are we looking at now?
86.
Okay, 86,000. How many of that 86,000 is willing to watch a wrestling podcast?
87.4.
Very nice. How many of that 87.4 has a fucking star rating spreadsheet? There's a scale to this. So I do not agree with the assessment some people have where they kind of go, the only people that aren't into it are the people that are just super online. I don't agree with that, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of people.
I believe, most wrestling fans fall into that grey area.
Yes, agreed.
Most
I don't think you have to have a fucking Observer subscription to go, man, this Cena Hill thing kind of sucked.
Yeah, exactly,
that's
And an extension of this, I guess it's kind of the same point, though, is like, you know when people pretend that the casual fan doesn't exist?
Yeah, exactly. Both
like,
things.
Yeah. Brother, my brother in the next room is literally a casual fan.
Yeah.
Like, he might watch SmackDown if it's on. He might watch Raw if it's on.
Bro.
He's a big Roman Reigns fan. Like he's not a drone. He's just a casual fan, and it.
Yes, exactly. And it's just that stuff drives me nuts. Where it's like you'll say something like, "Man, this Cena Hill term was pretty disappointing." It's like that's bubble talk, bro.
Yeah, like he'll bury WWE quite a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking hell, SmackDown was shit last night, wasn't it? Like when I'm talking to him in the kitchen,
he
or
has
some
opinions.
Shit.
Yeah,
but at the same time, it's not like, you know, he's not in deep enough to like watch like he can't watch AEW because of just like the way it looks, because he's
him it's like
WWE, as you know, it's
that's
just
what he watches.
so used to way wrestling TV looks a certain way and stuff like
Right.
that. So when something's a bit more scaled down and a bit more grounded, it's not like AEW's low budget. You know, as we've mentioned multiple times, they're getting 185 million a year now. It's like they go for a more grounded professional wrestling approach. You know what I mean? And some people, because they've watched WWE their whole life, that's like, what the fuck? Like even my girlfriend, like when she'll watch something like on Dynamite, we was out. We was in the hotel room, and like she was falling asleep, and I just thought, fuck it, I'll watch Dynamite. Pulled out my laptop, and I was watching it, and she kind of was in and out of sleep, and she was like, "How come it?" You know, because it was in the smaller venue, like with the small ramp and that. She was like, "How come it looks so like?"
Yeah.
It was almost like she wanted to say low budget, but she didn't want to like offend me, like
Smaller
I'm some
scale.
fucking fleet mecha gear. But like she was just like, "How come it looks so like it looks different?" You know.
See, I think that exists, but I also think there are casual wrestling fans that they're so driven by the action, they struggle to go from AEW to WWE. Like, I've experienced that. Like, I have
100%.
friends that like they love Osprey matches and they can't watch.
I remember when Punk came back.
Yeah.
And everyone tapped in for that episode of Raw, or whatever, and half the timeline was like, "Yo, this is mad."
Dude,
like, what do you watch?
I know people that like absolutely fit the description of casual fan, but they don't like any of the stuff that people associate with the casual fan. Like they find the Bloodline matches boring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because again, these are all different people.
Yeah.
So it isn't just an online. If you say something like, "Man, they really squandered that Ron Killings thing," I can promise you that doesn't make you like some sort of freak online fan. You probably just watched the show and went, "Fuck, they could have done more with Ron." That's it. You know, like, yeah, drives me nuts. I get fired up about that. It really gets my nerves.
Wrestling's beautifully subjective, isn't it?
Yes.
You know? So
Yeah.
it's not like not music or film, but like it's also like this weird hybrid of sport. Like it's a wonderful.
That's why I love it, brother. That's why I love it.
Go Birds, $4.99. Do you think when Liv comes back, her and Dom should go face? And Chelsea. Shout out Chelsea. Obviously, always we're winning the Premier League. You heard it here first, people. Anyway, should Liv and Dom go face? I'd say no.
I think Liv should. I think Dom. I'm torn.
That's
on
the
Dom.
big one. I can't. I think
I'm torn.
I'm to the wheels fall off with Dom as a heel for me.
They're so short on heels too, bro. They're
Exactly.
so short on heels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, man. Appreciate you though, brother. Appreciate you. Alright, we're gonna get out of here now. We've gone a little bit over. Let Joe go. This was kind of like his little warm up, you know. So we've kind of just been, like I said, it was a chilled one, you know. We've been chilling out, you know. Obviously, talked a lot more about his projects that he's announced recently. So make sure you guys go support them. Follow Late Night Green. Follow Late Night Green Productions. Follow Joe Hulbert. Follow Caden. Follow Royce. Follow Brainbuster. Follow Bob O'Neill and Jack Crosby and Shoot on Blue Sky and fucking Oracle of Wrestling and fucking. They got a good crew over there, man. They got a good crew over there. If I forgot anyone, please shoot me. Tope.
Yeah.
Fuck, who else is the Joe? I feel like have I forgot any big ones?
I don't know. I forget.
But yeah, man, shout out the Late Night Green guys. They're doing some really cool stuff at the moment. That proud to see it as a good friend. As a friend of the channel, as a friend of the promotion, I'm very proud and happy to see what they're doing. And yeah, we talked a little bit about Forbidden Door and fucking TNA somehow.
Of course, always TNA.
But yeah, honestly, guys, again, just to give Dave another plug, fucking honestly, if you are interested in like why are WWE doing this, and I think Dave's perspective and Dave's kind of analysis of the situation, and of course him revealing that WWE do have an option to buy TNA. I think it's a very good read and it's worth the subscription this week. So yeah, man, we'll be back. I think we start early on Monday, innit? I think Worldwide is going to be early on Monday, before the big one on the South May channel. You guys already know Kenny Omega versus CM Punk. Who has the better GOAT case? Of course, the representatives being Ibu and AO. This is a big one. It feels like a very natural thing for him to do, doesn't it? But
it's gonna be heated, bro. I'm kind of scared. I ain't gonna lie.
You should be.
Bro, I'm coming off a 24-hour stream and then the next day going to this thing. I'm going to be
it's doing a special guest referee after you. Anyway, people, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps us out a lot. Leave a comment if you've got any comments on, I don't know, just comments of support for Late Night Green. Anything, any kind of takes on Forbidden Door, and we'll try our best to get back to them, and I'll reply, and we'll go back and forth, and we'll do our little discourse on TNA or whatever the fuck. But yeah, man, like, subscribe. See you guys on Monday, and yeah, man, thanks for watching. Peace.